Imagine a vast, frozen landscape under an overcast sky. The only sound, a brutal wind whipping across the snow. The year is 1959, deep in the Ural Mountains of the Soviet Union. 9 hikers, clad in worn Soviet-era gear, push forward against the gale. They were young, skilled, and utterly confident in their abilities. Their leader, a calm student named Igor Dyatlov, walked at the front, setting a steady pace into the unforgiving wilderness. They believed they could conquer this mountain, but they had no way of knowing this journey was their final chapter. They were walking toward an end so bizarre, so terrifying, that decades later, the world would still be debating what truly happened. They had no idea this journey would be their last. The wind screams across the mountain slope. It's the night of February 1st. Visibility is 0, and a single tent is shaking violently in the snowstorm. Inside, there's sudden, absolute panic. The 9 hikers don't try the zipper. They slash their only shelter open from the inside with knives. Then they run. They run out into the freezing darkness, into temperatures of minus 40 degrees, leaving their shoes and heavy coats behind. Some are wearing only socks, others are completely barefoot. Why? What could possibly drive 9 experienced mountaineers to destroy their only protection and flee into a deathly blizzard? The official investigation concluded it was a compelling natural force, but that doesn't explain the terror that forced them out or the strange, severe injuries found on their bodies later. The only certainty is that something on that mountain was more terrifying than freezing to death. Imagine the scene, crisp morning light on a vast snowy mountain range. A single tent stands silent. Weeks later, when rescuers finally arrive, they find it just like this. Inside, boots are lined up, a jacket is folded, and food is neatly packed. Everything someone needs to survive is right there, but the person is gone. Outside, a single set of bare footprints leads away from the tent, barefoot in the freezing snow. The trail heads straight for a dark line of trees before disappearing completely. There were no signs of a struggle, no animal tracks, nothing to suggest violence or panic. It's a terrifyingly familiar pattern, echoing mysterious cases like the Dyatlov Pass incident. A leading theory is a cruel trick of the mind caused by extreme cold. Hypothermia can trigger a sensation of burning, compelling victims to strip off their clothes. But that doesn't explain the calm, the neatness. It only deepens the mystery, leaving a cold, empty silence and one haunting question. What could possibly make you walk away from everything, barefoot, into the forest? The first bodies were found near a tall pine. Its branches snapped. They were barefoot, almost naked in the crushing cold. A small dead fire was their only witness, a failed attempt to fight the inevitable. Farther on, others lay frozen in the snow, a trail of bodies leading from the tree line back toward a tent. Their final moments were a desperate crawl, but were they crawling toward shelter or away from something else? Their tent was found sliced open from the inside, as if they'd fled a terror within their only refuge. Fear was frozen onto their faces. What could terrify 9 experienced hikers so much that they would run unprepared into a Siberian winter? The official report called it a compelling natural force, but decades later, the silence of that mountain still keeps its terrifying secret. Deep in a snow-covered ravine, a discovery chills investigators to the bone. 4 bodies, buried under ice, with ribs crushed in a strangely deliberate pattern. Months later, it happens again. 4 more victims. This time, the injuries are even more brutal. Crushed skulls, shattered ribs. One woman is missing her tongue. And the faint radiation warnings seen before are now a certainty. Their clothes are radioactive. It's an almost perfect mirror of a real unsolved mystery from 1959, the Dyatlov Pass incident. 9 hikers found in the Russian snow with the same impossible injuries. The force that killed them was compared to a car crash, yet left no external wounds. The official Soviet explanation? A compelling natural force. But what force of nature does that? What really happened in the snow? In the cold depths of the Soviet state, the files were slammed shut. Thick manila folders, each one stamped in stark red ink. Confidential. What were they hiding? They were hiding the nights the sky burned with strange orange lights. They were hiding the military shadows that moved silently through the pines, and the sound waves that hummed with a frequency no one could identify. Witnesses, sworn to secrecy, whispered of a presence they could feel but never see. Then, as suddenly as it began, the investigation ended, quietly. The official report cited a single chilling cause, an unknown compelling force. But the people who were there, the ones who saw the strange lights dance in the darkness, knew better. They knew the truth was locked away in those archives, never to be revealed. And maybe it's still there, waiting.